This is the Be the Solution podcast. I am your host, Maria Quattrone, where we talk about how we are the solution in our lives, for our family, for our clients, for all those, and for ourselves. And so today, I'm going to welcome my guest, Rob Bunis. Rob is the managing broker at Prime Realty Partners, team leader and captain of Evolution Realty Partnership, as well as a coach, mentor, and managing broker of the office. He helps agents, newly licensed and veteran, build their businesses like a business rather than treat their business as a job. Agents are business owners, and he trains business owners to run businesses. Today, I'm going to share a quote with you. I'm going to talk about it. My quote for the day is works. Welcome, Rob.
Hi, how are you, Maria?
Welcome to the show, Rob. Great to see you. I'm excited to talk to you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. You've had some pretty good guests on recently. I'm excited to see what you end up doing with some of my other friends that I hear are coming aboard soon.
All good things happening.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to start with this, Rob. Okay,
Sure.
You ready?
Yeah.
Your response to this: works.
So here's my response to that. This relates especially to our industries where, there's a lot of people that want the success and want to make money and do all these things, but they get their license, for example, and they don't know where to go. They don't know where to start. You got to put the work in. It comes down to work. And I'll elaborate that on that a little bit more. There's a lot of us who sit and we wait for business to come to us, and you really cannot do that in the business that we're in. I coach agents, I manage agents, I run my own business itself, and the one thing that we're teaching is how to build relationships, and that is the work that we do. When you and I take listings, or our agents take listings, they're doing it by building relationships, and hopefully they're working smarter and not harder. But ultimately, the groundwork starts with what you do every single day by time blocking and keeping yourself extremely organized.
So time blocking is critical, I feel, to run an efficient business. And so what are things that you do, Rob, on a daily basis that are your non-negotiables?
Oh, hitting the gym is my first thing. I see, we're talking about coaching and stuff like that, right? What are the non-negotiables? You start with the gym. A lot of people start with just waking up in the morning and making sure that the first thing that they think is positive. And then maybe they go to the gym or they go on a run. I run a couple days a week when I can fit it in, and I do 3 to 4 days with my trainer a week. So that's non-negotiable. The other things that are non-negotiable: getting up, making sure you have a solid breakfast. And then right after that, I jump into my schedule. The notes that I took yesterday, I'm very note oriented. If I don't have it written down, it doesn't happen. So, everything's in my phone. I've got my calendar linked with my Gmail. So not only can I see my calendar, my wife can see my calendar so that I know exactly what's in the schedule. And I jump into the tasks for the day, which lead generation and follow-up is always a non-negotiable as well. Not just from deals that may have come across my desk this week, but also stuff from, months ago that might've been in the CRM for follow-up. So we go through all the processes and we identify the things that need to be done. So it's gym, for me, it's basic morning affirmations. If you look at the posts I put on social media, there's a morning motivation on there every single day, right? So I have an affirmation in my head, but every day I go and I'm like, all right, I'm looking for additional inspiration. What can I find today? So I'll go through Instagram, I'll go through Facebook and see if there's something that kind of resonates with me, and I'll make it my own, throw it on Facebook, and kind of gets me going. And then, the rest of the non-negotiables really start with communication and making sure that I have, one conversation with somebody that might be able to that I could bring value to, that I haven't talked to in a while, or I don't know yet. I try to engage a new relationship 3 or 4 times a week. That's a non-negotiable for me.
Do you have a certain number of conversations that you aim for each and every day? Talk about real estate with somebody?
Absolutely. Yeah. So for me, it doesn't necessarily have to be in person, but
no, just like on the phone or.
Yeah. No, I mean, phone, I'd say between phone, email, text, and Facebook, it's probably about 30 to 40 conversations. These days, I get a lot of engagement from posts. So I'm strategically looking at who's commenting and who's following my content on Instagram and Facebook. And on top of that, the CRM and database and people that I know are maybe specifically related to buying or maybe an agent who's getting licensed or so on and so forth. Those are the kind of conversations that I'm trying to have with those people. It's, what does your business look like? If it's a client, how's it going? There's an update on the market. It's never a pushy conversation unless somebody's engaging me specifically for recruitment or, hey, I want to sell my house and it needs to be on the market tomorrow, right? All right, this is what you got to do. I'm always about jumping into action, and that's what we train. We train our agents on the same thing. Like, you always have to have. You never want to be pushy. Like, we may be in a sales business, but I think a lot of people get carried away thinking that they have to reinvent the wheel or hard sell people on making a decision. And we're the only business that we have to find the product and then find the consumer for the product. Whereas, you say that you're a car salesman, the cars are there. You're trying to get the person in the door in order to come and buy the car. We're in a very unique business where the text, email, Facebook Messenger, all those correspondence that you're going to have, whether it's outgoing or incoming that you're responding to, whether you're going and finding somebody to contact or so forth, building the engagement and is the first step in building the relationship. Because just like your podcast, right? This is just use this as an example. This is a great tool to create engagement and following. And that's what I do to make myself have to work less. The text and Facebook, the 30 to 40 conversation mark comes a lot easier when you've built up a lot of engagement like that. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. It's about being able to move that needle just a little bit more every single day. I say it's like, imagine a 5,000 steel wheel. It takes a lot of momentum to get that thing moving.
Oh, yeah.
Once it starts moving, then it's very hard for it to stop moving.
No, I agree. And there was another thing about that. You said it's about being better. Like, I always see this and it always resonates because, like, you always have to be 1% better every day, right? You're not going to be successful every day. You're going to have days like today. I'm getting a lot of stuff done today, but I also feel like I'm not getting a lot of stuff done because I'm not seeing the end result of a lot of the things I'm doing now because I'm planting seeds or I'm working on something that won't be at the finish line for another 6 weeks. So if you're better today than you were yesterday, then you're making progress because it's impossible to be 100% better than you were yesterday. That's just physically impossible. So as long as you're making progress with everything that you do, the end result a year from now is going to be substantially better than where you are now. That's just the truth.
So yes, I agree. It's about being obsessed, maniacally obsessed with the process, because the process will eventually give us the outcome. We don't know when, because we can't control when a buyer or seller investor is going to buy, sell, whatever. We can't control when an agent wants to enter the business, change brokerages, or whatever happens. The only thing we can do is continue each day to do the process and win the day.
I completely agree.
Yeah, so talking about winning the day is, can't just look at it from a business. We have to also look at it as our life.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, what things are we doing every day to make ourselves better? But what about just being happy?
Yeah.
So I want to congratulate you on the new building that you just purchased.
Appreciate it.
And now you have an upcoming renovation to do, which I'm sure will have some challenges, but you're going to have a new facility. You say 4,200 square feet. Yeah,
4,100. It's awesome. There were two. It's a how we came to buy. It's kind of a complicated scenario, but I'll keep it short. We ended up. So I do a lot of business with the quartermaster of the New Jersey VFW, and he handles coordination between the state and all of the charters. Each VFW across the country is a charter. The VFW New Jersey owns the properties, but if a charter, we're going to say, misbehaves and it gets revoked, then it becomes potentially a charge on the chopping block unless another group of veterans would like to move in there and take over the property. We ended up getting into one that they had to sell it. Ken called me. He said, hey, I got this property. Do you want to list it? I'm like, sure. Presented it to my partner. Next thing you know, it's on the market. We ended up having to bid up. We had to go up against a few other people, but we bought it. And it hasn't been renovated in 40 years. So to the point about the renovation, we went in there with my partner's kids on Saturday and gave them sledgehammers, and it was cute. They were all hitting, busting through the walls and having a good time. And we went out for pizza afterwards. And
Culture.
It was right. It was good for the kids. It was good for the kids, and we're excited because we have 112 agents now. So going into this new facility gives us the ability to move our title company in there, as well as have a place to do trainings and so many other things. We've been a virtual brokerage for 3.5 years now. And we were lucky because during the pandemic when it opened, I know a multitude of brokerages that had properties with 1,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 square feet, and nobody was coming to the office because of COVID. So we ended up being this micro that popped up and had a very appealing disposition. And this building is just a testament to where we've come from. And now it's just time to plant some roots that are beyond 300 square feet. So we're excited about it. Thanks for that. And, I know that,
it's a great recruiting tool as well.
Yeah, it's a great recruiting tool. But I think the more exciting thing is, you mentioned that part of what I do is build businesses, right? Business owners. I coach business owners and not realtors. Like Mark Ricci and I, my partner, Mark, our mindset is always that it's not that we hate realtors. We like realtors with a business mindset, because I think a lot of people get their license in every state. They just go, you know what, this is going to be great. I'm going to make a lot of money. And then they get their license and like, all right, shoot, now what do I do? As a leader in your market as well, unless the leadership is willing to sit down with you and give you some level of one-on-one hands-on training, or you're on a team, you may not get the attention that you deserve because you're a number at a lot of these offices and brokerages. It's just like the corporate world where it's easy to bring on an employee to do one task. But if they don't know what they're doing at that task, they're going to fail at it. So we bring agents in and we basically steamroll a business plan out in front of them. And then we say, listen, this is going to be different for you than it's going to be different for Joe, Bobby, Natalie. We have to customize this based on the lifestyle that you want to live, as well as the money that you're looking to make. And it has to be customized around the time that you have. We have agents that are, retirees that have great pensions from previous jobs that are looking to make $25,000 a year to supplement income. We've got agents that are looking to make $1 million a year, and we're training them up to that. But the common is that every single one of them has a business plan that we've helped cultivate for them. But each of them are operating at a different level, and their business plans are all different. There's not one business plan that's the same. And that's, the same reason why Mark and I are bought this building, not just to support them, but, relate this back to buying businesses and figuring out how to make them flourish. A brokerage model, what you have that's valuable is the number of agents, not necessarily the volume to the brokerage, but the gross revenue, right? That makes sense. But the net operating income is the multiplier to put a value on a brokerage, plus its assets as well as the cash reserves that it has. If you have no cash reserves and you have no agents and you have no assets, then the business isn't worth anything. So we're looking at like a longer trajectory. We don't know if we're going to be a multi-state company, even though we're licensed in both PA and New Jersey. We don't know if we're going to be national, but we're scaling just the way we help our agents scale. We have a business plan that we're looking to follow. The brokerage is one more arm. Mark and I look at our business as if you're looking at I'm trying to think of what the best way to explain this is. If I have a piece of paper and at the top of it, it says real estate, and I'm looking at how many different income streams I can have from real estate, I could say, okay, brokerage, I could say title company, I could say real estate investments. And then there's like 2 more tiers from that, rentals and flips. Then you have team, then you have agent production, then you have, so on and so forth. But you drift with what I'm saying here. We build that exact same business plan for every agent that comes in, and we separate it into income buckets. So for example, today we were talking about, my team meeting was at 11:30. So we actually broke up at about 1:30, and I shot over here to record this with you. We were talking about buckets, income buckets, and revenue drivers, and building relationships. I was trying to, every week we try to get the point across that the relationships are more valuable than that one-off transaction that you're going to have Molly down the street. Even though you want to make have a really good relationship and a really good experience for Molly, so she sends you a referral business. The strategic alliance is like a couple of the guys that you have coming on the show in the near future that I have in my corner. We're passing business back and forth all the time. So there may be 10 deals that I might get from Matt in a year. I might be able to send him 3, but he knows he can rely on me because I not only understand the intricacies of his business and his systems, but for him to send me a deal, it's plug and play. Whereas, there might be another short sale negotiator down the street that knows me that I've never done business with that may be less inclined to work with me because he doesn't know that I know what I know. So, I work with a number of attorneys that are also in Dan Satovsky's corner, who you had on the show the other day. The attorneys that we utilize, the same thing. Like once you have a relationship with these people, fit them, you can literally fit them in as an income bucket. Like your agents are probably using the same things my agents are, right? They probably have Zillow, maybe another paid lead source, sphere of influence, all of these different income buckets. But if you add like specific relationships in there, you might have, attorneys, contractors, you might have short sale negotiators, or, maybe you break up attorneys into estate attorneys, real estate attorneys, and all that stuff. And if you have a good enough relationship with them, now your business just got a whole lot easier because your income buckets don't necessarily rely on maybe a paid lead source, but somebody that you may be able to provide a free value to, and in return they send you business when the time comes. The relationships is the business.
Absolutely. Your relationships are your lifeline.
They are.
So,
Make you, not to bring this back to what you said before, but trying to live and love your life. Like that's what we all strive for. I mean, the money's great, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything because money's not going to make you happy. So, the cool thing about this business is that we get to have personal interaction every single day by phone, by text, by email, by Facebook, by in person, whatever it may be. That is what I love about this business. And I'm sure you do too. And being that you're good at being an agent and broker, is a benefit because it puts food on the table. But I don't think I would do it if I wasn't able to have these relationships with people, because the personal interaction is way more important to me than collecting a check.
well, that will only go so far, right, Rob?
Yeah. Yep.
That will only go so far. We actually don't do any paid, no Zillow or anything like that.
That's good.
We built everything around the database and seller lead gen. So seller lead gen gives you buyers organically.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You get like 2 or 3 per listing.
If you can, yeah. I mean, that would be great. Future referral business from that business, reviews, building organically. I think one of the things that happens, and I want to know your thoughts on this, is that everybody wants to run really fast.
Yep.
And there is no shortcut.
Yep.
There's no shortcut to success. There is failing. You have to fail forward in order to get there, because you got to get no
Yep.
before somebody says yes.
Yep. Yep.
And people don't realize that the no's are critical. It is critical to get as many no's as possible.
Yep.
The more no's, the more yeses.
Yep. No, I completely agree. I started in the beginning, I was a door knocker and a cold caller. That's what I did, and you did it until you got a yes. And then you were, at the end of the day, you're like, all right, that's not good enough because I didn't sign the listing today. I have to keep going. And you just kept going. And I was starting I got in 2016. The market was good then. It wasn't bad.
Good market.
Yeah, good market, but a lot of competition because the market was so good. And it wasn't like pandemic, like good and put a sign on a lawn and it would sell. Like the hard part of that market, I think, was that at least in the Cherry Hill area where I started in Jersey, there were a lot of dynamo agents that were just crushing it. And they had all the good markets dominated already. So I was, in the beginning of my career, I was like picking up scraps in the desert. Like I was taking whatever I had to. And now I don't need to do that. My business is 100% referral. And we get a lot of leads of our sign calls. And I do a lot of business with the office that I do business with. And, they treat me right. I make sure that they're treated very well too. And because of that, I've built a very sustainable business. And we partner with some leads on Nation One Mortgage as a supplemental, as a sub of our agents, specifically on my team. But I look at the team as a mentor program, a micro, like people that want a little bit more support. But we train on building those relationships. I made I mean, I can't say I made anybody, but I told a few of my agents to join networking groups, and they did. And now they're like, why didn't you tell me to do this sooner? Now they've got relationships with attorneys and all this stuff, and they're getting referrals. I just had one of my agents. She's been an agent for a year. She closed 4 million her first year on my team. She
That's
just
great.
got her, she just got her first $1 million listing, and it was a referral. It was a referral from her B&I group. And I think it's so fun. I told them, I was like, go join a networking group. You should do this. It's worth it. You spend $1,000 in 1 year and you get one deal, and it's like you're 7xing your money pretty much. And here she is she just texted her mom on $1,000 from that one deal. It's like a $1.2 million house. So,
And more than that, she built relationships.
yeah, it's important, right?
She built a relationship, so that will carry well over. The investment is negligible.
Yeah. So Maria, I'm going to put you on a spot for a second. How'd you get in the business?
I used to sell radio advertising for 11 years before this.
Really?
And a
Interesting.
friend said, you should look at real estate. And I said, I don't know.
That's
I don't
funny.
know. And then I met with his friend who was a broker. And within 3 months, I was licensed and worked both industries for about a year. And that was, the rest is history.
Yeah.
That was 20 years ago next month.
Wow. So you're about to celebrate a serious anniversary.
Yes, serious anniversary.
Serious anniversary. That's exciting.
Nothing yet planned, but yeah.
But that huge congratulations to you, because as you know, and I've only been in the business 8 years on this side. I was in real estate for 7 years prior, but not in the sales aspect of it. But I've personally, in just a couple of years I've been in the business, seen agents come and agents go. So 20 years is a what I would call a tenured, successful veteran agent that's been able to adapt and evolve successfully during a multitude of markets that could have easily forced you to close your doors. A lot of agents have, but to take you back again, you're database driven like me. So if you're utilizing the fundamentals and building on that, you're never going to have a problem growing your business, because you're going to always have a sphere of influence and a referral source that's going to just continue to compound itself.
Yeah, I think also another referral source, which is really great, is other agents.
Mm-hmm. So I agree with that.
I just got a call today, a text actually this morning, for a referral for 1.2 million.
Awesome.
Single family home in the suburbs. And they're moving back to where they originally are from. They lived here for only a year.
Oh.
But that agent who referred me, I met 15 years ago.
Wow.
At a conference, and we kept in touch here and there. And I also had him on the podcast. You build relationships with people.
Yeah.
Over time. And then, since we're in a major market, last year I think I at least got 5 buyer referrals. I'm not sure how many listings, because I don't remember, but I know the buyers because I specifically worked with them myself.
Yeah.
Which I generally wasn't doing, but I figured my angle on it was it keeps you fresh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, with the residential buyer, I'm very heavy on the lifting side of the business.
Yeah.
The listing side of the business.
Yeah.
Rather than the other side, but that's by choice, of course. But it was interesting. I would say it was interesting working with. They were all first-time home buyers, buying between. I think the least expensive house was $585 up to 1.2.
Yeah.
All first-time buyers. One was not a first-time buyer. He was a relocation.
Yeah.
But interesting. And I find like there's so many ways that you can run your real estate business, Rob. But you can do anything you want, but you can't do everything. So how do you tell your agents like what to focus on, what to pick? Because in this industry, I'm only going to use this one because I know it so well. There's a lot of things that are squirrel. You're like, the next new shiny object?
It's a great question. You know what I always tell them to start with? You need a list. And that list has to be things that you want to do and things that you don't want to do. And you've got to write next to both of them whether or not you enjoy those things. And when you're building a business, you have to start from scratch. And eventually you're going to delegate the things that you don't enjoy doing and the things that aren't worth what your hourly rate is. You have to focus on the things that you enjoy doing so that you can stay fresh in your business. Otherwise, everything that you do gets stale. The number of times that I've had agents come to me and say, I don't know where to start. I can't even count on this point. And that's usually where, when an agent from another office says that to me, I know that they're looking to make a move. But that's really where we start. We start with making those lists so that they can identify what they're, what they want to do business. Before identifying how they want to target, what sources of lead they want to go after, it's identifying what they enjoy. Because I know people that I didn't have anybody telling me that when I got in the business, and I hated cold calling. I was good at it, and I could probably go back to it and have a lot of success. But, if somebody when I came into the business, told me, listen, call your database of people that you know on your phone and connect with them all for coffee and ask for business when you see them. If I had done that at the beginning of my career, I would have closed way more than in my first year. And as you do that, you start having conversations with people, then figure out what you like and what you don't like. In those conversations, you can pretty much figure out exactly what you're good at within your business just by doing that. But we have agents that swear by using, Vulcan 7 and Mojo Dialer. And we have agents that swear by direct to mail, direct mailing sellers, and agents that thrive just messaging 100 people on Facebook Messenger a day. There's just so many, like you said, there's no special sauce to this business because every business plan and model is different.
But the one thing that isn't is that you have to do the work.
Exactly.
Nobody can do it for you.
No.
So what's a piece of advice somebody starting as an entrepreneur in this business? What would you tell them? What you know now?
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell them to do?
Go up to the smartest person in every single room that you walk into and just tell them, hey, look, this is what I do. I'm new. I would love to shadow you for a day and just see what you do. I'd love to shadow you for a week. I'd love to see what you do. What those people will find is that people that have made it, you could call it made it, whatever you want to call that. Obviously, success is all relative. It doesn't matter. But if you go up to the happiest person in the room that you know is making the money that you want to make, or you see might have the lifestyle that you might, go and shadow them and find out whether or not it's really what you envision yourself as or envision yourself doing in the field. And the reason I say that is for two reasons. One, if it's what you want, you're going to figure out very quickly whether or not that's what you want. And two, if you're shadowing an agent, for example, if you're a successful agent and you have somebody ask you that and they're going to shadow you for a day, they'll be able to see what it takes, how much work it is, how many phone calls we take on a daily basis, whether or not the things that we do are fun. There's a lot of stuff we do that's fun and a lot of stuff we do that's tough conversations. We're having tough conversations a lot of time, topics that our sellers and buyers don't want to hear. There's nothing worse than saying, oh, I'm sorry I didn't get the house, or, oh, well, the offer that came in, it's $50,000 less than asking, or, whatever it may be. Like, those are the conversations that I think, somebody who's wants to learn the business needs to know that they're going to have. And getting licensed doesn't prepare you for that.
It certainly does not. It doesn't prepare one for much of the capability to legally transact a sale.
Correct.
Nothing happens. Interviewed a lot of agents and brought on a lot of agents and also deboarded a lot of agents rather quickly.
Yeah.
I find that a lot of people really don't understand what the requirements are. And in fact, Rob, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but only 1 in 14 agents who are in the business today that were in the business before 2008. So just over 7%.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. So
there's not a lot of people that get to 20, 30, 40 years in real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a wild, and these days it's a wild, wild west too. When you look at the average age of an agent, and this, I could be off with this, because I don't think I've looked at this stat in the last year, but it was 51. It was 50. The average age 51, I believe.
It is. Well, it was, but we'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll just say 50. In the last couple of years, I think there's a lot younger demographic of entry. And maybe that's what it is every single year, but it just seems as though, we could go in and talk NAR all day long with all the chaos and stuff that changes and stuff that are going to come about, how brokerages aren't preparing properly and all this stuff. But the interesting thing about the agents that are coming into the business are coming in a different time. I mean, Facebook and Instagram, although they're not out of the picture now, TikTok's the new way. Everybody's on TikTok, right? The business has changed substantially, but the only thing that I think has continued to be the same is working a database always beats everything else that's out there. Everything else is supplemental to your database.
Goes back to where we started.
Yep.
Build the relationships.
Yep.
Do the right thing. Be a person of integrity.
Yep.
Heart to heart. Lead with your heart.
Yeah.
Treat people like people and not. I refuse to say the word leads. We use that word. Our word is new opportunity or an opportunity to help somebody.
I like that.
Right? Because a person to say they're a lead is kind of
condescending. I could appreciate that.
Yeah. So before we wrap it up, Rob.
Yeah.
So, okay. What is a favorite saying that you are always, it's like your thing, your go-to?
That's a tough one. I don't really have a favorite saying. I mean, I don't really have a favorite saying. Today, one of my agents, I forget what he said. I thought it was really funny. But maybe this is me on the cusp of millennial. But one of my agents today, we're sitting in our team meeting. She's putting an offer in on a house for herself to buy. And one of my other, and she was conversing with us about why she was concerned. She saw that the property closed up for $230 and $19. I'm going to put the offer in, but I don't know whether or not I'm going to. And then she kept going back. I'm going to put the offer in. I'm not going to put the offer. And then my buddy Jack goes, just send it. Pauline, just send it. Just full. And he came back to the full send video you always see on the graphic images that you see. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those online where you've just got guys riding dirt bikes off of jumps and stuff. And that quote, like full, just send it,
Full throttle.
That's a very like kind of millennial saying, but I don't know. We've been using that a lot in the last week, my team, in all of our group chats.
That's great. I guess you had a lot of offers going out.
We've got a lot of offers going out. We've got a lot of offers coming in too. We carry quite a lot of listings, but a lot of it's investor type of distress stuff. And we, especially this time of year, because there's less higher end listings that are coming out. Most people that aren't in possession of a distressed property are usually listing between spring and the middle to so. I get lowball offers on a lot of properties that we list just because a lot of them are shells. So Philadelphia stuff.
That's okay. One at a time.
Yep.
Everyone counts.
Exactly. Yep.
We listed a property. I'll tell you a real quick story. We listed a property once for like, I don't know, 50, 60 grand or something.
Uh-huh.
And we were like, it was distressed in North Philly. And we ended up selling it to a guy who bought a lot of stuff around there. And then he gave us, we probably sold a dozen of his investment properties in one package. And then we sold it to another client. And then that client who we sold it to bought another like 20 from us. So this one little sale made us like, I don't even know, a couple $100,000 over a couple years.
That's so funny. It's funny.
So we always work with clients that are motivated.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what the property is, how much it is. If they're motivated to sell, we're motivated to sell for them.
Yep. I agree. I completely agree.
We keep that attitude of gratitude. We'll take it.
Yeah, I like attitude of gratitude. That's how
right.
That's how we operate first. Yeah, give back first, and everything else comes.
Be a contribution, which is why I do the podcast and the lives every day, right?
Yeah.
Contribute back to our community, our real estate community. So, Rob, how can people find you if they want to reach out?
Easiest way is to just search Rob Bunis on Facebook. That's really the easiest way to get
right up.
Yeah, I'll pop right up. And if you friend me, I'm always very critical of who I friend because there's nowadays you can only take 5,000 friends on Facebook, but I'm very strategic with who I accept. But follow me, engage my stuff. I'm always posting fun stuff on there. And then my email is robbunisbroker@gmail.com, and my cell's not important, but if you Google me, the first thing that pops up is my Google business page, and that's my cell number is right on the front of Google with a bunch of reviews. So, but yeah, but you should call me if you're an agent that isn't going with Maria. I am also an agent that runs a brokerage that is New Jersey and PA based. So we do hold licenses in both states. So
It was great to have you on the show today, Rob. Thank you so much for being the solution. And until next time, I'll see you
sounds
soon.
good. Thanks for having us. Talk soon.